Will you pray with me? Generous, gracious God of the Advent, we come before you again to open our hearts, to let you into our lives, to help us know you better, so that our lives can be more hopeful, and that we might reflect your love in a world that needs that love. Help us to slow down and to love. We pray these things in Jesus' holy name. Amen. I'm not going to dwell on it, but we can be fearful of things in life, especially with what happened a little over a week ago in Newtown. Fears of parents, fears of even ourselves of what might happen when we step out certainly have been riled up. And we're probably a little bit more cognizant of the things that are going on around us. But that's not the only type of fear that there is. I took a call from a parent of one of the students at WPI on Friday afternoon who was concerned because their son had been proselytized by a cult in the city. I had to allay the fear that the school is working on that issue on campus, and that I would have a conversation with the son when he got back from Christmas break. But I told he and his wife to stay calm, and that probably the son would work through this as a phase. Fear can rile up in us, but it doesn't have to control us. It doesn't have to define us, because if it does, then life is going to be awful. Mary. We discussed in confirmation the other night the story of the Nativity, and we started watching the film The Nativity that came in 2006, which is a great flick. And as we began to watch it, I said, think about what Mary was going through as you watched the film. Because I said to the girls, I said, imagine if one of you was pregnant right now. How would you tell your mom and dad? How would you explain that to other people? And there was a fear in her initially. There had to have been. Now the story tells us that the angel Gabriel came down and told her what was going to happen, and she assented to that. She said, let it be your will be done in me. Now that's a big thing for her to say. As she took on that responsibility and accepted that this was going to happen, that a Savior was to be born through her. But now, the physical nature of all of that, and dealing with that in the culture of her day, not to mention the culture of our day, was before her. She had been engaged to Joseph. And according to Jewish tradition, once an engagement happens, they are, the man and the woman, effectively married, except that they can't have marital relations, and the woman and the guy can't move in together for a year. But that's the state things were in when the angel came and told her that this is going to happen to her. So fear was in her mind. And so she went to visit her cousin Elizabeth. Elizabeth, who gave birth to John the Baptist. And we heard that story as Mary and Elizabeth came together and they met. Mary was fortunate. She had somebody she could go talk with about this, who she knew was going to be sensitive to her needs. Mary was able to go and stay there for a while. And they conversed. But back to the gospel focus for today. When they came together, Elizabeth said that the baby within her wept. And when they came together further, the baby within Mary wept too. The glory of God was moving. The Spirit was at work. And as Mary spent time with Elizabeth, she was able to sort things out and become calm, living into the role that she had accepted She had put her trust in God. God had allowed her to go and see Elizabeth, and she's able to start working through things. Her fear resided. God for us is present when we find fears, so that we can go and discuss these things, called prayer with God. God also brings us people in our lives, companions, husbands, wives, aunts, uncles, extended family members, people who we work with, who we can talk to, so that our fears can be allayed. We have to let God help us, or else we're going to be sitting in a rocky boat on a rough ocean, up and down, and things are going to get stirred in us. When I asked us to sing the Magnificat today, which I think you did really well at, the words are, "My soul magnifies the Lord. My spirit rejoices in God, my Savior." Let's think about that. Let's think about those words. My soul magnifies the Lord. What does that magnify mean? What can that mean for us? I think a good way to look at it is that Mary was saying, my soul magnifies the Lord. Let my life be a vessel. Let your will be done through me. Let my life and how I live it, what I say, what I do, how I am, be a positive reflection of your love so that other people know that. So perhaps for us, if we could think about magnifying God through our lives, it's how we let God in to work through ourselves. So maybe that Magnificat can be our Magnificat. Instead of being the Magnificat of Mary, it could be the Magnificat of Wendy, or the Magnificat of Leo, the Magnificat of Sarah, or Julie, or Terry, or Brooke. For any one of us, when we are open to letting God into work in our lives, our fear can be displaced, and we can be filled with hope. And that hope can be magnified through us in love and generosity and caring and sharing for the world, so that our souls can magnify the Lord. And that love can start pushing away the boundaries of the world and bring light to the dark places. As we look forward to celebrating tomorrow the Christ child's birth again, perhaps we can think on these words of what it means for God to be present with us and the world, and how through our celebrating, maybe we can keep that joy in us, and we can go out and magnify the Lord through our life actions. Thanks be to God.